The Arab region is one of the most arid areas in the world. A combination of low rainfall, climatic variability, and frequent droughts puts pressure on scarce water resources. The region is highly dependent on groundwater resources and increasingly reliant on non-renewable groundwater supplies to meet the growing demands of its population. But overpumping has resulted in a continuous decline in the water level and increased salinisation. Careful and sustainable groundwater management is an urgent priority to secure this precious resource for future generations. During 2012 and 2013, UNESCO and other partners organised a series of regional consultations to address the critical issue of groundwater governance. A diverse range of stakeholders took part in the meetings, from farmers to NGOs, from ministries to academia, from civil society to the scientific community. The meeting for Arab states was an opportunity to openly discuss the challenges and opportunities related to groundwater governance in the region. As these interviews show, some of the issues faced are common to other regions and contexts, while others are more specific to this part of the world.
That it is very timely for this important meeting to take place in this region. It's a region that is this moment in transformation. It's a region that is this moment is seeing a lot of migration of population from one country to another due to the recent events. And this brings more and more stress on the scarce water resources of this region. Addressing this as one of the questions to the government and the decision maker is an important thing. So this forum has really gave resonance of the several challenges that this region is facing.
The first message that groundwater governance is an interactive process between the governmental policy makers, politicians, and the community. So that's mean, so what the government going to address it should be implemented by the community in order to improve the groundwater governance. The second message is that financial resources are very important for the groundwater governance, so money should be allocated for the groundwater resource.
What we think at OECD is that the water crisis is largely a governance crisis. At some point, there's enough water on Earth for everybody if it's managed very wisely, and it's an issue that goes beyond hydrology and financing. Very often the problem is how you set up the institutions that are resilient enough to cope with future challenges, climate change and so on.
Governance is a very important issue for facilitating and improving the efficiency of water resource management. It's different from management. It's how do you take decisions, how do you implement decisions, who takes the decision for the purpose or for the benefit of whom. It has three main components that are essential. They are transparency, participation, and accountability. Now, when you come to the Arab region, it's sad to say that not these three components are infiltrating in the societies of the Arab region. And as you know, it's water governance will be a reflection of the overall governance system in these countries. Still, having said that, I think the water sector can be an agent of change for the overall governance system.
So there should be also a political will for the political will for the government really to manage the groundwater resource or the water resource in general in a sustainable manner. So it's time, because the crisis is really multiplying day after day, month after month. And there is a lot of solutions, but one of the important solutions is that to look water resource management as everybody's business. And everybody's business is represented by the civil society. Civil society, the immediate civil society and the government institution in water resource to work hand in hand, because they have got the common objectives to help the society in water resource for its sustainability.
a lot of discussion done through the 3 days, but nobody mentioned what's the risk of fully participation of civil society. Sorry. In addition to that, are we as Arab regions or countries are ready for fully participation of the civil society in the groundwater governance or groundwater management? There is a risk. There is a risk where, because of the people, they don't fully aware about sharing in decision making, because never they share the government in decision making, and we start to insist on them about these things, always looking for their benefits and forget the national benefit. It means need a good awareness campaign relating to this issue, that the civil society involved in decision making from zero until the implementation of any project.
What we are searching here is going from a conflicting situation, conflicting between users, conflicting between the law and users, conflicting between the users and the environment, to a situation where we have partnership, where people try to understand each other, try to communicate, and this has to pass by a common understanding of the issue. Because if you have a short-term vision, well, we try to see what is our main interest tomorrow and next year. But if we place ourselves on the generation level, on a more universal level, then people will have a common vision and are willing to cooperate.
All the communities and stakeholders have to be involved in the water resources management. For example, in our country, Oman, we have a system which is called AFLAJ. These are the water channels. Their distribution is very unique to many of the other countries. And I think we should take an example of AFLAJ water management to apply it to other regions in the Arab countries.
The issue of exploitation of non-renewable groundwater resources is really a problematic issue in our region. As you know, the region is blessed with a lot of non-renewable groundwater resources. They cover vast areas and at a lot of major depths. But the issue is how to utilize that non-renewable, because once you use it, that's it. So, in my opinion, I think you have to treat it like oil. By wise exploitation, maximizing the benefit of it, and organized or planned depletion without endangering the resource, I think we can maximize the benefit of this resource. At the same time, you have to think of an exit strategy. You have to realize that after a certain period of time, that water will be finished. And you have to prepare your societies to what to do next, what comes after.
Major challenge in groundwater quality aspects and sustainability of non-renewable groundwater resources. To address this, what we really need is more accountable and more transparent government processes, plus more participation of stakeholders, either on the transboundary issues or in national processes, with civil society and direct people participation in user associations.
Most people in the Arab region survive on groundwater which is not renewable, and it takes millions of years to form this water. So we need to protect it through the governance program, and for that we have to involve main stakeholders, the future generation, that means the young kids who are in school, for whom we save this water, and for the decision makers who should be conserving this water for them.
I would like to emphasize on the idea of promoting young hydrogeologists, to be able to involve them in the process, the dynamic that is in place, and to have them pick up this dynamic and translate it into action on the field for the next generation.
We made a lot of progress in science. We know what is exactly the situation underground, how this groundwater is changing, is flowing. We have models. We can predict, for example, what is the situation in a few months ahead. But what we don't know is how to apply these principles, these results in the real life. How farmers, for example, and citizens can benefit from all these advances in order to have good water quality and to live, say, with high standards of living.
So in other words, science really has to be one of the main things that we should use to try and apply the rules of governance. Yeah?
Science is necessary, and UNESCO focuses on science, but science is not sufficient. We can have very good science and bad governance. So how to translate science in good governance is the topic of our meeting, and this is a very important topic.
I think we are far away from the developing country and from the United States, but we should start. If it's okay or not, but we should start. If there is risk or not, we should start, because if we don't start today, we will be after 10 years late. If we don't involve the civil society nowadays, it's only we make accumulated problems, and the demand will be in the future higher than nowadays. If there is a demand today, it will be less than the future.
We in Jordan think that the results, the recommendation, the policies or the statements that was resulted from the discussion of the working groups in this event is of great importance to be implemented in Jordan and in all the Arab countries. We think continuation of the project also is an important issue. The sustainability of the project and the project result also is a major issue that we'll work on.